Today, I'm so excited to be interviewing Polina Haracha, who is a meet to marry success story, who got married very recently, right? Just a couple of months ago. Polina lives in San Jose, California. And and I remember some really special things when she joined, but we'll talk about that. And she's in marketing. And I'm excited for her to share her story. So Polina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Sure.
So Polina, I was so excited to see that you got married during COVID. So many people say, "Oh, COVID, it's impossible to meet, to date, to do anything." Yet you got married during that time. So I'm excited to have the opportunity for you to share your experience. And let's start at the beginning. Just really, what was your life like before you joined the program in terms of your dating life?
Sure. I was desperately dating for like 3 years. I think before I joined the program. Before that, I had like a long and difficult relationship that ended with basically like hurtful breakup. And but I decided, to move on, but still was lingering for that, relationship for a long time. And at the same time, I was like dating a lot. I was like very proactive about it, like, like used all the apps available, and nothing was working basically. It's like never developed into anything serious. There just wasn't working. It felt like something was broken basically. Um,
Right.
and I did reach out for help, and I think with you, Barry, I like found you a little earlier, like probably 6 or more months before I actually joined, maybe a year, 6 to 12 months or something. And I was like hesitant. I still believe that like it's either happens or not. Yeah, I should just continue like going on dates, and nothing gonna change the way it is. It's just like gonna happen or not. And then I think what happened, I did have like another like story when I met like a guy I actually liked, but it didn't work out. And it was my birthday, and I was turning 34. And I was like, I think it's time to get some real help and at least give it a try. And that's why when I reached out to you again. It was January last year, and I signed up for the program. Um, so yeah, life before that was just like wasn't working. That's like the best description I have. I
Right.
tried a lot of things, therapy. I mean, I'm sure all of that helped. I'm not like discounting it at all. I did a lot of therapy, coaching, like work on myself, a lot of things, but still there was some blockage that
Wants
didn't
to sleep.
allow. So,
If everyone can mute. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, we all tried different things like therapy and it's all good, but it didn't solve the problem, right?
right. Something was just missing, basically. There was some block that I
Right.
couldn't overcome on my own, or even through therapy. Yeah.
Right, right. And that's what we all pretty much find. I think everyone here has done therapy. I started therapy myself at 12 years old and I became very self-aware. I knew about all of my blocks and my patterns, but the biggest problem is I couldn't solve them. I couldn't fix them. So I would just go out and meet the next emotionally unavailable person and be left really frustrated. And it sounds like that's how you were feeling when you came to me on your birthday, right?
Right. It was just another like story, right?
Right. Right. It's very frustrating when you're so well intentioned, you're such a good person, you're so smart, you're successful in other areas, but you can't find your soulmate. So right. So what do you remember? And I'll never forget that day that it was your birthday and it was a present to yourself. Because in the beginning, when we first spoke, you were hesitant, right? You were wondering, is this going to work for me? Right?
Right.
and but of course you chose to believe and then it obviously did work. So what do you remember was one of your biggest breakthroughs that made it possible for you to be where you are now, married within a year?
I think like there were several things. I cannot name one, but I would say if there were two, I could like choose. Um, so the book itself helped me a lot, and like the 10 things that are in your way, it was very like eye-opening. And then you coached me through my like problems basically, right? When you identify which ones you are missing, and then you coached me through the ones. And I think the big one for me was my ex. I was still attached and like involved emotionally, and I couldn't let go properly, even though I thought I did, because we didn't have a relationship for 3 years, but I
Yes.
was still very much stuck emotionally. And you made it clear for me. And even though all my friends told me before you should stop talking to him, it's like move on, move on. It just felt like, what's the big deal? Like, it's just like a friend, And you made it like really clear for me, and that was one like big breakthrough for me. And another one was this, which sounds pretty much very, simple basically, but the belief, the expectation, um, the belief that it can happen for me, and it will happen for me. And we worked a lot on that, and I was going back and forth, probably as everyone else here in the group.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the crucial point was when the COVID hit, I got all anxious, and like I don't know if you remember, but I was like, I don't want to do this program anymore. It's not the right time. We should
Right.
put it on hold. It's wrong. Like nobody's dating these days. And you were like, no, this is just like another excuse of yours. You're just trying to sabotage it again. And so that ability to keep that positive mindset through different obstacles such as COVID and others was like, I saw very clearly that that's what I'm missing, that I don't have it. That's the muscle that is very weak, and I need to do something about it. So yeah. And honestly, the other thing that really, really helped, and I keep telling my now husband about it, the very clear vision of what I want in
Yes.
terms of relationships. It was mostly helpful when I already met him to make this decision that yes, that's the right one. Because like when you have this like list and you know that everything is there, like then it's easier to commit basically.
Right, right, for sure. And all these things are so important because a lot of people think that I'm broken up with my ex, what's the big deal? But as we learn, it is a big deal. And it's not so obvious just because we're physically apart, but there's that underlying still like this connection that's hard to just let go of, just okay, right? Because there's more going on under the surface with an ex about why we're still attached, why it's hard to get out. So that's beautiful. And also, right, like believing. Sometimes there are blind spots as to why we don't believe it's possible for us, especially when we haven't had it. We haven't experienced healthy love yet. So if you haven't experienced it, then there's a question of deserving. And then that speaks to that whole universe of what we have to clear so that you have a clear path, right?
Right.
Right. So that was beautiful. And also, I love that point about COVID. So many people say that to me today. Oh, COVID, it's hard to meet people. How can I do it? But what they don't realize is that the problem they've had with relationships has been around 10, 20, 30 years. So it's not COVID. And as a matter of fact, I think COVID is a better time. It's a great time because the people who want to find a serious relationship, they're feeling the isolation and they're more serious than ever.
And we talk about it with my Dmitry, his name is, like the way the relationship started, and the amount of time and energy and just free time that we spent building it
Yes.
was different because of COVID. And now we're super grateful because like I know that in the different time I would travel, I would be distracted with something else, like, and this made us just really focus on like, okay, what we want to build here. And it worked basically, yeah.
That's beautiful. So now to the really fun part. Okay, so we cleared the blind spots, we cleared the blocks. So what happened next? So tell us how you met Dmitry and how you knew that he was different.
So I actually knew him from before.
Yeah.
I met him 3 years before, just after my breakup, and it didn't end with anything. Like, we both were not ready, basically. I was heartbroken. He was too busy with himself, basically. He just started his business at the time, just got investments, and like was also younger and everything. The funny thing that when I went into this like latest stage of the program, like almost was done with it, or maybe even was done. I don't remember exactly. It was like month 3 at some point of the program. He reached out just like pretty much randomly. We didn't speak for like 3 years, you know. In a friendly manner. It was more of like, hey, how are you? You know, like, we started like talking a lot, like talked a lot, and it was COVID time, so we mostly talked on the phone, and then we met each other, and there was the spark still, and I think what happened is this was like the critical moment for me. Like, we saw each other like twice maybe, and then he recently broke up with the girlfriend. That's why he actually reached out to me like a couple of months ago, and he was still like very like not there yet. And he told me like, hey, I really like you, let's be friends, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for serious relationships. And I was like trained by Bari. I was like, so I said, sure, no problem. I'm not sure I want to be friends, because like, you know, I have enough friends, but I'll keep dating. And if anything changes, just let me know. But for now, I'm good. And that like was shocking for him, and like it actually made him now he admits, like he's like, no, I cannot lose it. You know, like, and but it was really helpful, because in the past I would just somehow follow along with this idea of let's be friends, maybe let's see what happens, and be unhappy about it, and like, you know, because yeah, there was this like spark that I really was, you know, interested in this guy. So yeah, that's what happened, and since then it went very fast and smoothly. Mostly, we did have one like sort of like a crisis a couple months into it, but other than that, it was very like smooth, like very like there were no much doubt, you know, like in the beginning, and I was still like anxious, but once we hit some point, it was just like flowing, basically.
Right, you knew. How will you know it will flow, right?
Yeah. And especially like with like commitments and getting engaged and getting married, it was all very like easy. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah. And you know what I love? What's really funny, how divine providence works is 3 years later, he broke up with someone, and he randomly called you, right? Randomly.
Right.
Right. So I don't believe in the random. I believe that you were ready. You were so clear about what you wanted. You were a clear vessel. And you said, I don't need any more friends. I don't want to be friends. Right. Which really set the tone for, wow, if I really want to be with her and get to know her, then this is going to be the real thing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Have to
Yeah.
be serious. So what's different about Dmitry than in the past, than all those other relationships?
Everything.
I love everything.
I was like attracting or like choosing probably like just the wrong people all the time before.
Right.
Emotional and available, not really family oriented, looking for like dating more so than creating a family, not ready for children, like all that kind of stuff. Emotionally distant, even if they're in a relationship, but still emotionally distant. And here it's like he was very clear from the very beginning he wants a family, and like the type of family I want, like, you know, like traditional in a way, you know, and super emotionally available, vulnerable in a way. It was in the first several months, it was so uncomfortable for me, like, how can guy be so vulnerable, like what do I do about it? Because I'm so not used to it, you know, like, open, transparent, basically, decisive, all the things I was missing pretty much.
Yeah. And how do you feel? What's so important about a marriage and a relationship as you're getting to know each other is how do you feel now when you're with him?
Safe, that's probably number one, and that's what was like big for me. Uh, Optimistic and very positive about the future. Um, I mean, happy, like easy, very much. I can be like 100% myself. There is no like effort to pretend or to, show off anything. Just be myself and actually be like loved, like for that for this specifically for who I am.
Yes.
Um, yeah, all the good things.
All the good things. So all the things that you wrote down in your new empowering statement, right? Your vision of the future. Yeah. And you seem so happy. Your energy is so great. It's so wonderful. Because before I remember you had some anxiety and concern and worry. And now, so that's what I want everyone to know is that once you find your person, you feel safe, you feel positive, you feel happy. And so what is your life like now? What are the kinds of things that you guys are doing together? And what are some of your big plans?
Yeah, so one other thing that is new for me and that never happened in the past, we spent so much time together. And this is something I wanted, but it's uncomfortable in a good way.
Right.
And I mean, we moved in together like last year, like 2 months and a half before we actually got married. And but that was the plan. I didn't want to move in far before getting married.
Right.
And that was like my idea. But um, just life together, like I really feel like a family. Like we do everything together pretty much, and especially in this COVID times when there is not much going on externally, so we don't like travel, we don't like see too many friends. We work from home a lot, not all the time, but a lot. We are just like around each other all the time. And the funny thing that if we are not around each other for like 2 or 3 hours, we miss each other, like um so
Oh,
you know we
yeah.
do a lot of like the new thing for me, we do a lot of, I mean, it's partial of course because of COVID, but we do a lot of things at home, like cooking a lot together, like taking care of the house, uh building plans together, like but the good thing, like that what was very like unusual for me as well, like I've always been this planner, like let's plan life for 10 years and like for you like, and I was feeling like a bit like it's a bit not usual, not everyone does it basically, but then when I started joining programs like yours, you meet more and more conscious people who do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But Dmitry is also like that, and like and just by himself he was always like, let's plan next year, let's plan next 5 years, let's plan next 10 years. And especially now when like there's this time, this space for it because of COVID, we do a lot of that, like in details, like how we want to see like our children, our house, our relationship with our parents, our like businesses, like stuff like that. um yeah, which is really great.
Oh, it is. It's really great. And I love how you said like two things really stood out. One is that you spent all this time together and it's wonderful and new. Like it's like uncomfortably wonderful, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and in the beginning, actually, the funny, like the fact, like in the beginning I was like, I need more space, like I need to go out and but it actually went away. It was just like several months.
Right. Right. For those of us who are maybe avoidant or didn't have it. We only had relationships that made us feel bad or, people that were emotionally unavailable. Right. That's the big difference, how sweet it is when you're with your true love, your soulmate. It is very sweet. And I could relate even after 16 years, you're apart for 2 to 3 hours and you're like miss each other. Like there's always things to talk about, right?
Right, right.
That's sweet. And the other piece I'm hearing, which is very important for everyone who's listening, is that Dmitry, not only do you feel safe and optimistic and happy and 100% yourself, But the idea that he is like you, like he's inspiring, right?
Hmm.
Because so many
Yes.
people say, oh, it's hard to find someone who is, this way, like maybe Jewish or Christian, but also inspiring and also that I'm attracted to, that also wants a family. I hear that all day long. And they think they need to settle or they need to compromise or what they want doesn't exist. But as you're seeing, yeah, Dimitri's really inspiring.
Yeah, you know what my thing was before the program? I was somehow, and I found out about it in the program, that for me it was always like a good guy who's like ready for family, or interesting, entrepreneurial, like, driven. And I was like, I better choose the first one because like I want a family. I will sacrifice this like fun
Right.
part with drive, and he has both. He like runs his own business. I learned so much from him about like entrepreneurship, so yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And as I look at the people who are here hearing this, many are successful women and they all would like to be with someone successful and inspiring, but also loving and warm and where you feel safe. And that's the message. That's 100% possible. But you have to first open your heart. We have to clear the barriers that have us not believe, that have us actually repel that. And I also love how in the beginning you had these meaningful conversations about what your dream was, right?
Yeah, and the funny part is like we did have all the serious conversations from the very beginning. I started them mostly, but because I was so like ready, but he was so responsive that I thought he was there as well, and it was so amazing. And then like in several months, I asked him like, how come like you were so like serious, and like it's like serious. To be honest, you just like set the tone for me, and I was like, like it's not gonna work differently. So
That's right. I hear that from so many of the meet to marry spouses. A lot of husbands are like, well, Marisa was so clear about her
yeah.
vision. It really facilitated these great conversations and then falling in love and just walking into this life together. Yeah, we hear that a lot. Jonathan, too. Jacqueline got married this Sunday, and her husband, the same thing. Melanie was here, and her husband said the same thing. Thank you for making her ready for me. It was
Hmm.
sweet. Oh. So, Polina, what would you, given your history, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you have everything going, but you had blocks, you had human blocks that other things couldn't fix. And when you were contemplating the program, you were even a little skeptical and will it work for me? And I kept telling you, it's going to work for you if you work it. And I tell people, yes, you will be married within a year, given that you're doing the work, So given you remember, like on the other side, your mindset about will it work for me and skepticism, what do you want to tell other singles who are watching this about their possibility to really have it all and to do, to do the program, to do the work? What do you want them to know?
Right. I mean, I would just say like that transition for me was very impactful, like big, like it was hard to take in. For me it was like overwhelming, let's put it this way. And like the thought I have, and I think I'm able to apply this approach now to other areas, like, but and I will continue learning. But I would say just like really go full in with the program, because you will really feel like a lot of resistance. I don't know, maybe someone not a lot, but some. And like the more resistance you overcome, the further you like basically progress, right? And the further you can get. That was my main takeaway. Like actually what they say, like step out of comfortable, like all these things in this program, it really worked this way for me. Like I had to be really really uncomfortable to get out of that place I was stuck in. And in this case, yeah, trust the program, because like it just, I think it's built the way that it knows about all this like blockages, because it's like a lot of people been through it and a lot of like experiences in it. and it's like a car or like a plane you just sit on and you need to like just go. um,
That's a great way to look at it. Right. You get on and you go for the ride.
yeah,
You go for the ride. And you
and
were,
it's gonna be like uncomfortable, and just let it be uncomfortable, sort of.
that's right. Because on the other side of your comfort zone was Dmitry, right?
Right.
Right. And this life, like now you're just starting your life with him,
Yep.
right? What were you going to
Yep.
say?
No, I was actually about to say that I actually, if anything, I regret I didn't do it earlier. Probably everyone says that. Like 3 years ago, at least, when I just got out of that bad relationship. But you know,
I
it's life.
hear you. I hear that's what people say all the time. And I tell them, I tell people that, like, just let go, trust, you know? So yeah, but you did it, and now you have your whole future to, you know, you made the investment. You made an investment in yourself, and you got super decisive and super committed, even when you didn't fully believe yet. But part of the experience of what we do in the program is learning how to believe in something that you've never had, how to get unstuck. So now I mean, you're looking forward to family, children, right? Ultimately, grandchildren, like a whole life. That's what you, wow, I'm so excited for you. So excited
Thank you.
for you. I
Thank you
can
so much.
see the joy. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. And I wish Mike and I wish you everything. We look forward to celebrating all of your milestones.
Thank you very much.
Oh, great.